Hello and welcome to my sound designer's commentary for USS Sasquatch First Flight. Well, like I said, I was a sound designer on this. I didn't actually direct this one, so it was kind of more chill, more laid back. I wasn't everything on the project, I was just the sound designer. So it should have gone faster than the other one. Well, it didn't. It took me 2 years, but that is of course because of the pauses when I was in college doing homework and stuff like that. It was still a good experience, and once I was able to actually put 100% on it, it went pretty fast. So right now we're hearing the opening sequence. I didn't pick out the music this time either. Just as the sound designer, it came to me with the dialogue and the music, which is... I really like the music.
That way I could get another look at her. The USS Boston. She was the first of a new class of ships designed by and primarily constructed by the citizens of Earth. Beautiful,
so we kind of have a
vessel,
opening first-person narration. So I added in some. It said it was a like a station where the USS Boston was being worked on, so I added a dock. I kind of went back to Star Trek, not the original, the 2009 Star Trek, and so what when I guess it was the Enterprise was sitting there undergoing repairs, what did it sound like? And well, actually there was no sound for that, so I just sort of made it up, and I thought USS Boston, maybe I'll put it in that area of the United States in Boston, and kind of have water around it, so I have sounds of a dock and some tractors and stuff, and a few small ships flying by, and
I didn't even bother to look around.
Like small transports.
Yes, she is.
I've heard she has an all-new transit engine, 3 classes of torpedoes, maser cannon, point defense guns,
so kind of this humming
shields.
sound going on, because I thought that would be ambience for work. It's sort of like woo 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 woo
I turned to
woo
face
woo
the
woo.
speaker. I
And then,
shot to attention.
In addition, the music
This was
had
an officer.
a really bassy drone on
Midshipman
it, so
Brianna Summers, age
kind of
18. You're enrolled in your final semester at the academy.
That's terrible, I know, but something like that. It shakes the room.
Not the easiest track. You also speak fluent
In fact, I have
again
to
and some Patorus.
turn down the
Above
bass on
average
my
grades, your family runs
2.1
freighters out of the
system for
Cygnus and New Arabeth colonies. You already have a freighter pilot rating, and you're the first person in your family to attend the academy. Midshipman, you arrived here at Station Hellsberg 3 days ago. You and 73 fellow midshipmen. Every one of you slated for a posting on the Boston.
Yeah, so for about 2 years, that's all this was just this first scene with the dock sounds and
How do you feel
kind
about
of,
that, midshipman?
it's kind of heavy equipment in the background. I don't remember exactly because that was 2 years ago, and
A ship with an urgent need for a console.
I have not opened that original session. You know, I was thinking the other day, this has been 2 years and it's been through 4 computers, this whole project. I started on
My ship. The DSC 675
I started on a desktop
Before you say
computer
anything, be advised that
and
the base commander is aware of this
sort of
conversation.
transitioned from that to my laptop, and from my laptop I transferred to my dad's desktop because I was beginning to overtax that, and then finally was able to get a powerhouse of my own. So,
Records show proficiency in maintenance and repair. Would you be interested in such an opportunity?
but basically all I did on
Patrol has too
my
few openings there. Too many qualified
workstation
candidates
computer was
wandering around the station right now.
the end credits.
Well, sir,
I know this is a major decision. The patrol is definitely not the fleet. You've just spent 3 years of your life being drilled and trained in admiralty methodology and mindset.
One of the things that stood out for me, at least when I first took this project, and still today, is the idea of blooming where God plants you, and somehow, I mean, sometimes rather, how the place He puts you is the place where you least expect it, and certainly that's been true in my life.
I understand. One question, sir. Why me?
You came highly recommended.
Sir, needless to say, this was unexpected. But why me?
The footsteps there in that scene are actually carried over from DSI files. I used the same
Hey, sis!
footsteps that I did for
Who
that.
else? I saw your name on the station roster. What do you know? Little Bree Summers is almost an Academy grad. It brings a tear to my eye. Is my hair turning gray? I hope not.
Sasquatch?
Navigator First Class Tomas Pedro Luis Salazar Gutierrez.
A cutter. I thought you'd be jockeying a
A
high-speed
Spaniard,
frigate.
a conquistador. No, I'm kidding.
Got any idea how fast a cutter can go? How tight they can turn? I switched loyalties just as soon as I got my chance to fire
Yeah,
up
Tomas
a
Luis
engine.
Salazar Gutierrez.
So you gonna do it?
Tomas
Sign on with us,
Pedro
I mean.
Luis Salazar
I already told the skipper that you knew your
Gutierrez.
stuff. I mean, I
Something
hope you
like
don't
that.
mind.
Well, Thomas, I hadn't planned on joining the patrol. I've always wanted to sign on with a...
Ship of the line. Sailing off to glamour and adventure in the skies with an Admiralty vessel. Yeah, I remember. Look, sis, on Sasquatch, there will be something an Admiralty cruise can't promise. Reality.
Another thing I
Forget
looked at for
simulators, forget
Sasquatch
mock-ups.
was
We get the real deal.
Firefly.
Plus, you get to work with me.
Because that's a small ship that's
Sis,
sort of,
listen to me.
a bucket of bolts, to borrow a certain colloquialism there. And
You're one of the smartest people I know.
small ship anyway was the
Admiralty
idea,
could just
and
be
so I took
another
some
grunt on a
ideas
ship.
for that, for
I
some
gotta
of the
roll. I
sounds.
got people waiting. Look, sis, give this
At least the
a thought,
premise
because
for some of the
sure
sounds I
could
put
use
in.
it.
The rest was
You can
basically
catch up
just
with me at the Barrack 6.
Thomas's
interpretation of
family and
what was in
my
the
family
script
were in the
and
same transport union. Growing up, Thomas and my older brother, James, had been inseparable buddies.
favorite part here.
Thomas once told me he thought of me as the little sister he never had. Of course, he also once said he thought of me as the pet monkey he never had. Thomas had left his family to seek his fortune in one of the services. It actually made sense he'd end up as a helmsman on a fast ship. As long as I'd known him, Thomas had been a man who appreciated speed.
Me too. Yeah, so like I said, I didn't direct this one, so I can't really comment on working with the actors. Although, I did work with them as far as building sound effects around their performances, and this one was just a joy to work with.
The repair docks were the opposite side of the station from Boston. From one of the direct viewports, I could see a Sasquatch, moored and undergoing repair. Sasquatch was...
So I kind of have some
not a work of
hammering
art.
construction sounds
She
and
was designed
stuff.
for border patrol, search and rescue,
Didn't have any access to any
as opposed to
spaceship
full naval
repair
operations.
sounds, but
This was a vessel that
I think it gives you the idea that it's being worked on, and it's kind of an older vessel, less
The
elegant.
secret of the patrol's success out here in the wilderness was in its staffing. All members of the patrol crew, no matter the class of ship, were expected to be cross-trained. Sasquatch had a crew of 14. A similar Admiralty vessel would require twice that many staff. I had the feeling I was going to regret this, but I'd made my decision. I stepped through the Berth 57 airlock and into the Sasquatch.
Just a big
Identify
a door
yourself.
creak and a big door banging.
Service number VPX34479. I'm here to examine the damage to your communications system. Can you give me any diagnostic data?
I can access your hand unit through the port on the communications console. May I request that you place
Something about
urgency
this
on reconnecting my
project,
external
as I
receivers.
remember, there were no actual scene markers
Death and death.
in the script,
Let's
so I
see
sort of
what
had to
we can do.
mark where the scenes were on my own. So I put a big marker here
Midshipman.
for that
Ow!
head bump
sir.
there. That was
Hey, Bree.
that was an interesting one. Originally, I actually banged my head on my desk to get. Yeah, this sound design can be a hazardous occupation. That actually didn't work too well. I had to add in actually a kick drum, kind of to get the more
How did you get
bassy
past security?
thud. And somehow that sound effect got erased, or yeah, the sound effects just were missing, so I had to go back and basically do the same thing, the oscillator kick and something else I think I might have put in. So my original head bump or head bang bump. I'll stick with whatever. My original self-damaging process has been removed from from the final here.
Discharges associated with plasma cannons will sometimes cause that function to go dormant. Most of the damage was caused by a massive power surge in main.
It's interesting. One of my friends, at the time I started working on this project, one of my friends actually sounded like this character.
I have 2 cultures of crystals.
Or she sounded like my friend.
Repair patches. And
either way.
I was also able to reconnect most of the onboard diagnostic systems. Good news is that the damages were not as bad as initially reported. Close, but not as bad.
Are you saying that you might be able to restore function to an entire system before we launch?
Sounds pretty cool,
I think
actually.
so,
Growing
sir.
crystals to
As
heal
I stated,
stuff.
The biopack system
like
has begun healing itself, and I think I can
yeah,
replace
biopack
most
system.
of the crystals.
It kind of I don't know what it is, but the way it's
48
worded,
hours.
it kind of makes sense. So,
I will need some additional materials to complete repairs.
testament to good writing, I guess.
Here's a list.
Bioinduction diodes, logic shields, EMP shielding. We might have most of this in the ship's
I guess
stores.
I don't really know that much
Contact the
sci-fi,
station
so
quartermaster for the
that's
rest of it.
probably why I don't get a lot of the
Diagnostic communication systems.
references.
Main
But
trunk to forward sections A, B, C, and starboard section D.
I like it when
Current
computers
status,
talk like this, like
87%
alpha,
efficiency.
rather than the
Hey, that's pretty
you
good.
have 5
We were at
messages
32% when we limped in.
to erase
Yeah,
all
but
messages. Press,
engineering
that sort of thing.
still
That's an
disconnected.
answering machine, but
Alpha, locate and relay all the locations of all breakpoints to my hand unit.
Request completed. Requested information has been relayed to your hand unit. Shall I continue the system-wide assessment?
Affirmative, and relay pertinent information to designated personnel as needed.
Great. Looks like I have maybe 15? No, 17 breakpoints along the main line.
Will you require assistance?
I won't know until I've actually surveyed the damages.
Don't let us keep you, Ensign. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Highly irregular.
Yep.
I can think of 3 regulations she violated just by walking on board unaccompanied.
So can I.
I like her.
I thought you would.
so the next scene we
Captain,
have the
traffic
takeoff
control says we
sequence,
have a lane
and
clear for launch.
Gunneress, ahead maneuvering.
for the sound of the engines I
Ion rockets are
used,
standing
I believe
by.
the same
Gyrating
sounds I used
engines
for
are
the
energized and synchronized.
for the
Awaiting command, sir.
air flying cars in DSI files,
We're at transit speed
and then I
button
added
2.
some
Was amazing.
lower frequency. I think it boosted lower frequency, and also for one I used some
that velocity.
the low end of an organ, some pedals from
She runs
an organ, and
Give me the public.
mixed that in there, and then tweaked it so it just got higher in pitch as time went on. But I'm not sure if I used that for Sasquatch or if that was for the Path ships. I didn't end up giving sounds to the Path ships, I don't think, because we were never really switching perspectives to be outside of the ship and with the Path cruisers, so... So we have the dinner scene coming up, and for that I kind of looked at Firefly because there's a dining room in that ship,
then
and
went person to person as I made
it's,
certain that all of the crew's hand units
it's fairly large. It
matched
looks
with the repair
like a regular
communications
dining room basically, and so I thought, well, maybe I can figure out what types of background sounds there might be. But what I discovered was there really are no background noises for there. It's just quiet, like any other, which is actually pretty realistic. In space, you would not hear the engines of your ships. At least I don't think you would hear the engines of the ships without special equipment. So, but of course, for a story, for a movie, or for an audio drama especially, you can't have zero sound.
Pull up a chair. Join us.
Yeah, park it and be neighborly.
So to transition from the louder scene to the quieter scene, I added a whoosh,
doctor, the chief engineer,
and
and a marine.
So,
without
what
that
do you
crack
think of
on
our
it,
happy
but-
little ship so far?
Well, Chief, it's not what I was expecting.
So I think I actually
We can
made a
only
video
imagine.
of
We know
my
what
Foley
Academy
for this
instructors preach
scene.
about
I was
patrol.
actually
They say the same
the
things
dinner
about us
sounds are
Marines,
me.
you know?
I was eating lunch and I just recorded a bunch of sounds like napkins, spoons, taking bites of stuff.
Everybody gets to take a turn making at least.
If you listen really close, you can hear my video camera go ding.
Scheduled for next Thursday, by the way.
And I thought about taking that out, but I thought, there are probably other people eating in the
any praise for the patrol
mess
or
hall or
patrolmen.
lunch cafe.
According to them, your
So there are
ships
people
run
eating
down,
there,
your food
and
will
so
close.
they would be making sounds as well. Maybe they have data pads and hand units, and so there's some of my talking in there as well, just way in the background.
The patrol was all over it.
So I guess I do sort of have a cameo in this one.
Wasn't that where...
It was an industrial and biological disaster. One big planet-sized toxic waste dump. The whole planet, and what was left of its population, was dying. The Combined Expeditionary Force sent teams to assist, and it was the CEF and Patrol who sent every ship they could get their hands on. It was the one time the CEF worked with the Path. The last time, as well.
This scene actually took a while. Well, this is where I stopped for about
out here.
not for the full 2 years.
So
This is where I
what's
stopped
so
for several
wrong with
months,
the Path?
at least
They're
12.
just a bunch of intellectuals.
And
On the eastern continent,
there I can hear myself
CEF
talking in the
had set up
background
some
there a little
hospital
bit.
camps. A massive cloud of poison gas
And
drifted in
because
and
I guess I was
I'm
overthinking
told
this.
it
I
was
thought, well, I
hell.
need something more. I need something
The
more. I
closest
need
rescue
something more. And
vessels were from the
really,
Path.
if a scene
But to
is
be rescued by
translating
one of the Path
well
vessels,
enough,
one had to swear an oath of
usually the
loyalty
simplest
and join
version of the
Path.
idea is the best one. I
3
mean, you can get really
transports
complex.
full
You
of
can add all
people.
kinds of
All
sounds, and sometimes
desperate to
it's
get away.
necessary, sometimes it's
All
not.
disappeared into the Path. Not
Really,
to
at
the
some point, you do
trace.
have to stop
Their choice in
tweaking
the matter,
things
the
and
Path
just
emissary said.
Oh.
stop working,
So
or
tell
better
me
yet,
about
have it ripped
Captain
from your hands,
Jessup.
and they
Was
say
he
you will
always
not
that grim?
lay down
Yeah.
another sound effect.
But he's probably the best commanding officer I've ever known.
The captain should have moved up to a
Just so you don't
frigate
take
command
5
by
years
now.
sound designing a
won't
simple
go.
project.
I've heard some patrolmen will stay with their ships and the crews for their entire lives. That's part of the patrol mystique, right?
There's that. But there's more to it. If Captain Jessup took such a promotion, he'd probably have to leave the frontier.
That's a problem?
It is
So,
for
as I
Captain Jessup.
probably mentioned in
What we just said
last
about the Lucasi
commentary
evacuation.
on DSI
His
files,
wife ended up on one of
we
those
get
Path
these
ships.
we get
She was
these
a medical worker.
lines from
She's
different
been missing
people,
for almost
different
3 years
recording
now.
different microphones, different places. So they're not all at one place. So getting those to all sound like they're all in the same room is
But every so often,
kind of a
the captain
challenge,
will take
and
some leave time, disappear for a week or so.
I think it worked out for this,
Usually
though. You
leaves
can't
range
really
command.
tell too much. I mean, I
Sometimes
can
range
tell,
goes
but
with him.
it doesn't
Always
distract
near
from the
big
story, I don't
Nav
think.
enclave in Sector P-36.
Either way, no one on board really talks about it. Bad form. I can tell you one thing, though. He knows exactly where she is, and he's trying to reach her. He may have already made contact.
How do you know that?
Because he's Gabriel Jessup. Once you get to know him better, you'll understand.
Wait a minute. What you guys just described is basically kidnapping. Doesn't the Admiralty...
The Admiralty?
Something
Man,
I thought
the
about
Admiralty is only interested
briefly
in
while doing
building
this
big
sign.
fancy cruise ships that just happen to be on.
Something I thought about
Did
briefly
you know
while
that
sound
everybody
designing
over
this
the
scene
rank
was
of
that
lieutenant has an
it would be
assigned
helpful
valet?
to have the
Valet.
actual eating sounds, but you could only do that if they were all in the same room and you had like a director saying, okay, now we'll... Or, if each person was eating while they did that, but that could be kind of risky, eating around your microphone, and
Lovely crystal stemware in the chow halls. And a wine
could think of a million things that could go wrong.
Yeah, they've lost sight of what's important.
Important?
Service is more than having big fancy ships and people in nice uniforms. It's more than needing a status quo to find your own sense of value. It's actually doing something. It's having a purpose. It's standing for something.
Everything has a purpose. Doesn't it?
Depends. How do you feel about the path?
Well, until just now, I thought they were just another religion.
That's what we all thought. until the patrol started having a few run-ins.
So this one is a little bit slower
take their
paced than
orders from
the
a
other one.
statue.
It's more
It's
dialogue,
animatronic
more
reality.
conversations.
Each path ship has an amphitheater deep inside. In each of these amphitheaters, there is an exact, lifelike replica of the High Lady. She's their
So
version
now
of the
here we
Pope.
get a little bit of sound. The music
4
is coming
times
in.
a day, she addresses the faithful through
And
this
that's it.
network of animatrons from her abbey on Centaurus
Dinner
Prime.
sounds, dialogue, and music.
I've actually seen one of these things work.
Nice sandwich.
It's just like she's standing there, talking. Weird.
I still say it's idolatry.
Good one, Moose. You've been reading again.
Wait a minute. I have been on path ships. I have friends who are in the path.
Summers, you're not in civilized space anymore. This is the frontier. And nothing out here is like it is in the inner systems. In the inner systems, the path is generally seen as a positive thing, a force for good, supporters of peace, education, and society. Out here, they're just one step away from being a heavily armed doomsday cult.
The chief's right. Their missionaries are quite adept at using distractions and half-truths. Their emissaries have been known to attend all of the higher learning centers on these worlds. They learn all they can about the religious structures and cultures. Then they exploit it. Like the book says, the prophecy lies in my name, but I know them not.
That's old religion.
Still, even though
Most
this
of
is
us
a
are,
pretty
but so is the captain.
slowly paced scene,
You,
My parents were into it.
there's good
Never thought
interaction
much
between the
about it
characters. I
myself.
like the dynamic between
Okay,
them,
so we have to be on our guard. More
which is really the
honest
only
and
thing carrying
knowledgeable
this scene
today.
right now.
Smarts we got. Baby, this tin can has some of
I
the
love this
smartest
part
gear
coming
in
up.
the system. We got smart torpedoes, smart drones. Every fifth bullet in the point defense guns is smart.
Sasquatch is smart.
Sasquatch might be smarter than us.
Smarter than you, maybe.
Love you too, man.
I take it the two of you have worked together for a while.
Yep. Me and T-Chack here have been stationed on this bucket for a few years now.
But I've been here longer.
How about you, Doctor?
I'm here because this ship is on the other side of the galaxy from the Salavan system.
You know how everybody in the civilized universe thinks that patrolmen are outcasts and misfits or people running from their past? You know, like the French Foreign Legion. Well,
Can kinda hear a
Doc
little bit
here
of the-
really is.
She
The
never talks about
wind
her
and
past.
the
Her personnel
popping
records
on
are sealed by Captain Jessup's
Moose's
order.
microphone there.
Very ominous.
That's not his real name, but
I
anyway.
will say this. When we find out what she did, someone is
Just
going
the
to
kind
be
of
loaded.
the wind and
I got a
the,
week's pay
and the-
riding on her being a mass murderer.
I've told you people before.
Of course, I have a
I was
pop
kicked
filter
out
on
for
my
singing
microphone right now,
off-key
so
in the
that probably
choir.
didn't do too
Just
much
to be on the
damage.
safe side, I put a few bucks on that too.
Alert, alert. All personnel report to duty stations. Action station.
Well, this was lovely. We must do this again sometime. Later.
And that's pretty much where I left off sound designing for about
Summers, take your post and update
15 to 18
Aye,
months.
sir. Alpha, release console operations. Distress call, sir. An
So-
army vessel. It's garbled. Weak. I'll try to boost it.
So
and
some
filter the
kind of
signal.
alien conversation or something I used for that.
They're saying something about a point singularity. Damaged. That's it. The signal's gone. I was able to partially triangulate a position.
So now I have
Transferring
console
data to the
noises
helm.
like the tap tap and the
search grid.
beeps
TA
and
is 8
the
hours.
other
Summers,
random
send encoded
sounds
first
to give the
station
idea that they
Hellsburg
are
Winter
actually
Haven.
working on
Inform
something.
The SOS relay coordinates and request assistance. Gunner confirm course correction and proceed.
Here's hoping they're not talking about a sun dragon.
A sun dragon?
Yeah, that was a message just
Nasty
sent.
little toy the Argians came up with during the conflagration. It was a device that could be fired into the
I like
sun
this guy's
of any
voice,
solar system.
Lynch.
Within
I was
10
listening to that. I
minutes,
was wondering, is that a
that
real
sun would
accent? You know, I don't know. It
expand
kind of
3
sounds.
times its
And then
normal
I
size,
saw, well, he's from Australia. It's
consuming
like,
inner planets
oh,
and
okay,
reducing others
all
to
right.
cinders.
My bad. I thought that
The
was
star would then collapse in upon itself,
you know, an
making a
American
handy
doing
little
an
black
accent,
hole.
but it's been a while since I've
The
heard an
artificial
Australian
black hole
accent.
would then deplete itself within 2 to 3 weeks. All that would be left behind was an empty piece of space.
We call it a singularity point warhead. In our game, the word is Sun Dragon.
Position confirmed, sir.
Alert
Begin
sound
search
there.
grid. Lynch, full scan. Summers, try to reacquire that signal.
Kind of like a
I have
sonar
the
sound
signal,
there.
sir. It's faint, but I think I can get a lock on it. Got it.
Confirmed.
So that was
I
the
have
biggest part of
targets.
sound designing.
15 degrees
The rest of
port,
it was these console
140,000
sounds.
kilometers.
You know, in addition
And
to
I have
having
an
the
anomaly.
rumble of the ship
Captain, it's a
flying
compacted
through
black hole.
space.
Must be the place.
Alpha, access mission logs from the US Acapulco. They were near this sector 6 weeks ago. Any spatial anomalies reported?
Negative. There is no reason for a singularity to form in that location. This
So
and the
building
irregular
some sounds
size
around
and
Alpha, like the
radiation
sound of
wavelengths the
search
singularity
complete,
would
and then she
indicate
starts
a
reading
non-natural
the
formation.
results and
Lynch,
stuff.
are the targets Argaian?
There is an Argean scout ship just outside of the event horizon of that black hole. Engines are burning at full capacity to keep it out of the gravity wave. Irregular pulses from the starboard engine pod indicate imminent failure. The other two are path cruisers, safe distance off. They're just sitting there.
Cyrus, contact the Argaian vessel, offer assistance, then contact the path cruisers and ask their intentions.
Incoming message, sir. Audio only. From the
Oh.
Path Commander.
Message alert
Path
sound.
captains don't like their images to be
So then I put some
broadcast.
sounds around
Let's hear
the
it.
there.
Attention
The
patrol
beep for
vessel.
on, and then
It has been
another
decided
beep
by
for
Providence that the
closing the
occupants of
audio
our
channel.
vessel cannot be saved and should not be saved. We strongly request
The
that you
kind of
respect our
radio
religious right to
chatter
make and to cause this decision.
sound in the background was done by Brandon, the director.
While I pity him for following a religion
Not quite
which
sure how he
allows
did
him
that,
to
but it's
dismiss the
cool.
lives of
I've-
sentient beings
I
as
decided the
unimportant. Mine does
channel
not.
open and channel close
A
sounds would be a
rescue
nice
will
complement to
attempted.
that.
Verbatim, sir.
Gutierrez,
Ready when you are, sir.
Okay, so
I'd
she
recommend
types out a
docking with their
message and
upper
sends
hatch.
it
Summers,
basically.
relay that to the Argaian commander. Lynch,
This is where it gets
Grappling
kind
hooks
of
ready.
uh,
Magnetic
really
pads
everything
charged.
speeds up, and so there's like
Dr. Leeds' team and
no
Marines
time
are
for some of these
standing
things to
ready.
actually
Summers,
The
happen. So
Argaian
I had to
captain
kind of
thinks we're
figure out,
crazy,
okay, how is she going to send that
appreciates the
message?
effort and
Okay,
says
she
that a crew
won't
will be standing by
actually,
at the center
she'll maybe
docking
record
hatch.
him and it
7
transcribes or
individuals.
something like that.
By the way, she'd like for us to hurry.
That probably doesn't translate to the final, but for me it helped to determine which sounds I would use.
tell them they have maybe 2 minutes to transfer. Warm
So through this
bodies
whole
only,
scene,
no luggage.
I have
Lynch,
the
where are the grappling hooks?
Got
the
them.
tension building with the
Revealing the
sound of the
Contact in 15
engines
seconds. Brace
cranking up,
yourselves.
just
Bridge engineering.
amping
Jack,
up,
I'll need everything
cranking
you've
up,
got to
amping
keep
up,
us from
whatever. It's
crossing that
getting
event horizon.
Understood.
more strained
What about those
sounding.
cruisers?
I have distortion, but it looks like they're still sitting there.
Like right there.
Contact with Argean
Now the
vessel.
engines are working
Sealing
harder.
hatches.
To Jack, engine status.
She's stranded. You might want to step things up a bit.
Hull stress approaching critical. Using shields to compensate.
Helm is sluggish, sir.
Can you hold our position?
For now, yes.
Alert. Outer hull integrity failure in 10, 9, 8,
The engines
Bridge,
are really
all
strained
present and
now.
accounted for.
5,
Hatches are sealed.
4,
Ledge, cut her loose. Gutierrez?
And now the really fun part.
Emergency.
Now this is again going to Star Trek for this. So I think I put in a kick and some thunder and other sounds and then silence.
What happened?
Alpha.
also had
Emergency
the-
power and ventilation.
I think I added in the organ
All
pedals
right,
on this one
everybody
just
sound
to
off. Who's still
have that
alive?
that's
Any idea what happened?
making the
Looks
jump
like
to
we did
transit
something
speed
we weren't designed to do.
Again.
and the heavier.
We gotta avoid doing that.
I'd say that between the gravitic effects of the
So then
fake
after the silence, I had the
singularity,
fans
engines at
kick in
full
because there's
power,
a
and
basic
the
life
sudden
support
release
and
of the
things
ship's
coming online.
mass
So
looks
the
like
fans
we
just
made
kicked
a
up
jump.
another gear.
We went transit?
Not a full jump. Most of my nav systems are down, but I'm guessing maybe 1 astronomical unit.
Confirmed.
Lynch, what about the path ships?
I have very limited exterior scans. If they're there, I can't see them. I paged a crewman to head into the observation dome. But assuming they're still there, and we did jump 98 million
I
miles,
should have given it away that he was
they'll
Australian
be
the
here
way he
any
said
minute now
dome.
at max sublight.
Sir, I have
But I
damage
didn't pick
reports
up on
coming
that.
in. No casualties. Moose
Like I
is
said, it's
escorting
been
the
a while.
Argeian captain to the bridge. Dr. Leeds reports the captain's name is Vashon.
Good. Access the emergency frequency. See if you can get
Brianna
an
calls her
SOS off.
Vashon, and the captain says
I am
Vashon.
Vashon.
See,
My ship?
It's gone, madam. I'm sorry. Your crew?
I like
All
Captain
alive
Jessup's
and
voice
well,
too. I
thank
don't think
you.
I mentioned that, but sounds like
Your
he'd be a
ship.
good captain. Someone
Where
I'd
am I,
want to be
please?
on the
Madam, was that a singularity caused
be a
by
crew member
submarine?
under.
No, it was not. Those weapons have been outlawed for nearly a century. I do think it was something similar, however.
She speaks in these
4
nice,
days ago,
measured
an
tones.
Argian ship, a freighter, was traveling along the frontier. As it passed near this sector, their sensors picked up odd radiation signals, a continuous regular pulse. They noted this and forwarded the information to the local science authorities. A drone was dispatched to reconnoiter the area. The drone traced the radiation emissions to a nearby asteroid
So now
cluster.
I have some just regular
the cluster
spaceship
used to be
interior
there.
sounds.
Sir, Observation Dome reports no visual contact on the Path cruisers. Not yet.
The probe
Didn't have the
located
sound for
something.
that one, but
Several of the asteroids
I'm
had
hearing where I
been
could go back and add,
mechanically bonded
I don't know,
together.
maybe 10
This
more
was a
sounds.
mass roughly half the size of your Earth's moon. The radiation pulses were coming
But I think
from
it kind
the
of helps with the
interior of
pacing
the
to have
construct
everything
in a
calm down
regular
and just be
pattern.
more quiet at this
My
point.
ship had just assumed a
Because
safe
very
primary
soon
sensor
everything
scan
kicks
position
back up
when-
again into
Well, I think you know
full,
the rest.
I was going to
A
say full
singularity
throttle,
weapon
full
has to be
gear.
fired
That doesn't
into an
work.
active sun to begin the process.
Everything gets really
The
exciting
mass and
very
the
soon.
fusion reaction to feed it. If someone has designed one that can go from a cold start,
It's bad. Summers, please tell me you got that message off to the stations before we transited.
Yes, sir.
Main power is coming online. Captain, I can give you sublight engines only. The Chiron furnace is almost completely depleted. We'll need time to regenerate.
Understood. Gutterus,
I like
best
this
speed out of
regeneration
here.
thing.
Lynch,
Things can
Singularity,
regenerate
and the
themselves
cruisers.
and all that.
singularity is dying out exponentially. Should dissipate within the next few hours. The Path cruisers are en route to our position. ETA, 10 minutes. By the way, did anyone else notice that those were Immaculate Choice class boats? You hardly ever see them in this region.
Generally, they're assigned as tenders to the main fleet.
You believe they had something to do with the singularity?
Well, it would explain how not one but two path vessels arrived on station so quickly.
But would they not know your vessel was nearby? Your patrol ships are regularly in this sector.
We're a week behind schedule. We're not supposed to be anywhere near here.
I think it started fading in the ship
Torpedoes,
sounds.
2 to starboard.
Ah, here we
Deploying
go.
countermeasures.
Action.
The second cruiser is now moving to flank us. They're targeting us as
Actually,
well.
during this time, acquired a new sound effects pack,
Sir,
which
incoming
helped me with some of these sounds, like the missiles and stuff, the sort of laser guns shooting down the torpedoes and that sort of
Adam,
thing.
your call.
If we were to enter either of those ships, we would never be seen again. Guests of the Path.
You need to use the S word.
The S.
Sanctuary.
Oh! Sanctuary.
See?
I formally request sanctuary for myself and my crew.
Summers informed the Path vessels that the Argalian nationals have requested and been granted sanctuary by a representative of the patrol. As such, all hostilities must cease pending a full review by the Education Council. Lynch, weapon status?
Systems are energized and prepped. Firing solutions are locked.
Stand ready.
Sir, the Path Commander replied they
Yep,
answer
message
to an
alert
authority
there.
higher than a mere council.
Engineering, to check, I need power to the engines.
Hey, we all got needs. I need another 10 minutes for minimal levels.
Both Path ships are targeting us. I'm readying torpedo and hot
There's
gun
some more
rounds.
console
Enough.
noises.
Captain,
We are being graciously offered one last opportunity to transfer the Argians. If we do not comply, we will have to accept our chosen
Argians,
fate.
Arganes.
Inform our friends
Seems to work
that
either
if
way.
they want to take possession of our guests, they will have to commit an act of piracy and board this ship.
Pulse cannon, low intensity. You just had
I thought that
to
would be a
provoke
good
them.
sound for a pulse
They're
cannon.
launching torpedoes. Point defense guns are
Torpedoes.
online.
I think those were actually I used jets flying
Time to
for
show
that.
how well the Sasquatch can dance.
And of course the laser
Lynch,
guns.
return fire, full spread.
Firing forward tubes. Firing aft tubes. Firing maser cannon. Point defense guns
When
are taking
I
the
thought of a
incomers.
maser cannon, I thought of
The shields on the second
the
vessel.
deal that I've forgotten the name of it now.
More
But it's the
pulse
thing they
fire.
used to take down
None
the
of their
Zilla
torpedoes
Beast.
made it through this time. The lead cruiser is repositioning itself for a second round.
Target masers on the lead cruiser, torpedoes on the other. Try to overload their shields.
Firing all weapons. That's doing it. Good thing those ships have light shielding. Sir, both ships have fired hull crackers. Nukes.
Shields to full power. Gunnerus, evasive now.
I
Let's
could think
jam.
of a sound for the shields going full power, but I don't know what that would sound like. I don't think they actually make any sound. But anyway.
It's one of ours. The hull crackers are being recalled.
Attention, path cruisers. This is Sir William Grayson of the patrol galleon USS Northern Hemisphere. By the authority of the Unified Systems, you are hereby ordered to cease and desist these illegal actions.
Do not threaten us, patrol ship. We have the right to defend ourselves against any of your aggression or persecution.
Path Commander, your vessels are being targeted with masers, torpedoes, and kinetic energy weapons. Your shields are already weakened, and we're bigger than you. But by all means, feel free.
Gunnerus, turn us about and bring the tubes to bear. Lynch, they fire, we fire.
Aye, sir.
No response from either of the path cruisers, sir.
They're too busy trying to figure out their next move. Another ship arriving may have upset them a little.
So, very timely rescue there. Sir William, another character.
Transiting out of area.
I like the sound of.
Gabriel, you in one piece?
We're just fine, Sir William. Thanks for the timely assist.
Our pleasure. Stand by for docking.
I think Brianna was well chosen as well. I just like the way this whole thing came together.
Two Argian cruisers
So we're back
arrived
to
a
the
few minutes
days of
later.
peace.
Vashon and her crew transferred immediately.
When
Vashon
all
let us
was
know the
well,
existence of a
and
cold star
no.
singularity
Yeah,
weapon
but
would not
that's
be
just the
greeted
music, like how it
Sasquatch
comes
stayed
down
with the
nicely
galleon
here.
until our Chiron furnace was fully regenerated. Then we set off on our cruise again. The crew recycled back to a comfortable level of calm
It's
preparedness.
got that nice.
As for me, I made my way
I don't know
back
if it's
to the
really a
workshop in
space
lower
feel,
tier.
but it's
Lynch had
sort of that
informed me
genre
that
of
the mining colony would need some
floating. And
UV control units. I set to work laying
it's
a
like
section of data
there's
mesh
more
a
to this
curriculum.
story.
Ensign, you work entirely too hard.
Sir, I didn't see you.
You're preoccupied with loading that grid. What are those anyway? UV mods?
Yes, sir. I was putting them together for the
So
mining
this is a
colony.
scene that kind of wraps up
Lynch told me they'd
blooming where
requested
God
some.
plants you,
They have
because
these little fake suns circling
Bree
the
was
colony.
really wanting to go on an
Stable, so the
Admiralty
controls are always
vessel
burning
in the
out.
beginning, which was more
Now I have to
prestigious.
ask you a question.
And
Am I in trouble?
Actually, no. I
kind of a
received an
more
inter-system communique from Admiral
seeming a
Harriman
more
earlier
viable
today. I'm
option.
supposed to
And
tell you that they fixed the Boston. Apparently
so
it
here
was
she gets
wiring problem as
a
opposed to
message that the
shielding
Boston is
problem.
fixed, and now she can
Anyway,
go
they have
back.
to constantly
But
get the midshipmen back on
she
deck so they can
realizes
crew the
that
thing.
she
Do you want to reclaim your
will not
Boston
learn
posting?
everything she hoped to learn from
Funny
there,
you should mention a communique, sir.
because she gets a message
I
from a
got one
friend
too. A friend
who
of
was
mine
explaining
posted
what
on
it's really
Savannah.
like. So she
He
realizes
told me
that
so
being
far,
stationed
all
on
midshipmen have been
Sasquatch,
allowed to do
or
is sit
posted
in
on
class
Sasquatch,
and
was
read
the
protocol
best
and
place she
collect
could be
weight
after
from
all.
superior officers. 2 weeks of studying protocol
And that's a lesson
being
I need
told,
to.
there's more to come.
Huh.
If it's all the same to you, sir, I think I'll just finish my time here. Moose has already issued me a sidearm and everything.
Glad to hear it, Ensign. That's one good thing about Sasquatch. She's not the prettiest or the most dangerous, but she can teach you a lot. Just have to be willing to learn.
Like how
that's
to
just
deal
the way
with
it is,
armed
so
religious
that's-
extremists.
See? You're already learning.
So yeah,
You're going to
blooming
stay
where
on the
God
frontier,
plants
you
you
need to
might
know
not
these
seem
things. I
to
think
be
you've
the
already
most
realized
exciting
that the
or
outer
whatever,
system path
but
is not the same as the inner system
there's
path.
always that's been true in my life, as I
Yes.
said earlier. Places I've been.
I don't understand it.
So,
I have friends who are path
I just need to
emissaries.
remember
They're
that lesson
nothing
more
like
often
that
and
path captain.
learn what I'm
I mean,
supposed to
the
learn in
path
those
ships and the
circumstances
intersystems
instead
aren't
of
even armed.
being
It's like-
frustrated about them.
Summers, the path is a problem. A problem that those of us who followed the old religion allowed to happen. Now we have to deal with that problem.
I see, sir. I think.
Now we can face that another day. Right now, you need to close down what you're doing and report to the wardroom. It's movie night.
Movies?
Yes, Costas and Life Support gets to pick tonight. That means it'll probably be a Western.
Is there popcorn?
What kind of a joint would this be without popcorn? Of course there's popcorn.
For a brief moment there, his armor slipped. I caught sight of the man this crew knew and followed. A man who cared enough about others to risk it all, knowing that his crew would back him up. A man who followed a religion that I'd grown up with but knew virtually nothing about. A man who had the skills and ability needed to command. I saw the man who would become my teacher.
Alright, and that's it. So, sorry I didn't have too much to say because it's kind of slower, not as much that I can comment on, but this was a great experience. I think it's so far the best I've done, and hopefully next project will be even better than this one, and I'll take everything I've learned from this one and the one before it, ones before it I should say, and just bring my next project to an even better level of quality. So yeah, I also did the end credits for this, and that took, I don't know, 3 months. Just collecting the information, because it had been through more than just me, so I had to make sure I got all the names right. In fact, we almost credited the wrong person with the lead role, so it was good to catch that. And then
Kevin MacLeod with sound effects from freesound.org.
So then after that whole process of getting all the information correct, and then I recorded them, and then had to add another name, so I had to record them again, and then the final recording, and here you have it. So that's my sound designers and producers commentary of USS Sasquatch First Flight. Thanks for listening, and catch you guys later.